So here we are. It's Friday afternoon and we're in the little chat room. And today I've got with me, well, I'm going to say this, Stephen Donald, Stephen Edwards, but actually it's one person. But when I introduce him to you, he'll explain about the name. I'm really happy to be here today speaking to Stephen because Stephen has been in some great TV programs that I've loved and my mum and dad loved, and you know, I can't think what they're called. Oh, he'll tell you all about it in a minute. Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Kaz. How are you?
I'm good. What's the weather like in London?
You know what? It's actually like a summer's day here at the moment.
You're joking. It's pouring down here.
Oh dear. Always rains in Manchester.
So, Steve, can you tell everybody who's watching
who I am?
What your name is?
Well, Stephen Donald. Donald is actually my middle name, but when I was becoming an actor, at that particular point I had to join Equity, and I couldn't use my real surname, Edwards, because there was already someone, I think was the artistic director of the Derby Playhouse. So I was chatting to Equity at the time, and they said, well, what's your middle name? I said, Donald. I said, well, that'll do. And that's how I became Stephen Donald. So
brilliant.
The stage name is Donald. But
okay, so when I said Stephen Donald, it's all your real name anyway.
It's all my real name, yeah.
Exactly. Perfect.
I've been working professionally as Stephen Donald. That's, that's what stuck. I'm forever named after a duck.
As an actor.
As an actor, indeed.
Yeah. Let me just turn my mobile off because it's going to keep bleeping all the way through this. I just know it.
You're in demand, you see.
So let me say this. Let's talk about acting, right?
Yeah.
Because going back to your, it's got some relevance to your name, because if you look up Stephen Donald on the internet, you see everything about acting, yeah. The actor. And then if you look up Stephen Edwards, you see somebody else, a singer, a songwriter. So let's start with Stephen Donald, the actor. So how did your acting career, what did you do to get into acting? Was it something you always knew you wanted to do?
Yeah, at school we actually didn't have drama, so it was only by the time I got to sixth form college when we had like a drama department, and that's when I sort of cut my teeth with it, really. And that went hand in hand with the music at that time as well, because I was with various bands at that point. But what happened was I eventually went off to drama school, a place called Bretton Hall, which is also where the League of Gentlemen guys went to. I was in the same year as those guys. And that was a 3 years training course. And then on leaving, I realised, well, I didn't have an equity card. To get an equity card, I joined a band. And we actually went round pubs and clubs in the northwest of England. And we were doing sort of Eagles covers and country and western stuff, folk stuff, all sorts of stuff. And that's how I eventually got all my contracts together in order to get an equity card.
Wow.
I went busking as well, actually.
That's great. Some of the greatest talents have been buskers.
I love the busking element because I was with a flautist at the time. So I was playing a guitar, she was playing a flute. And if we made enough money, we'd find a B&B. If we didn't, we'd sleep on a beach.
Great. What great times, eh?
Oh, brilliant. So, going back to the acting, when I left Bretton Hall, I saw an open call, like an open audition for the stage play of Bread, which was written by Carla Lane. And it was in Bournemouth.
Great show.
And my granddad, who I'll probably talk about a little bit later as well, was very significant in that audition because he lent me his car to attend this audition. It was a Morris Marina, I remember. And I actually drove it from Bournemouth to Liverpool to attend this open audition, along with about 500 other people. But fortunately, I actually got the gig. I got the job.
Wow.
So that was my first professional job in Bournemouth. And then that stage play transferred to the Dominion Theatre in the West End. And then I took over one of the parts then as well. So that was my first foray.
Brilliant. And so that was it. You got acting in your blood then, right?
Well, yeah, I think, I was fortunate after that to go into the performance of Blood Brothers, and that was it again in the West End. That was at the Phoenix Theatre.
I went to see that actually, and if I think back to the right year. I can't pinpoint it, but I think I saw it when you were in it.
Oh wow, gosh. Well, it's probably mid to late 90s. I think I was.
Yeah, I
And I was
probably did
with.
see you in that. So let's talk about now. I mean, TV soaps. Everybody loves TV soaps. You've been, it's unbelievable because you've been in practically every one major
Yeah,
successful TV soap, barring EastEnders.
yeah. That'll have to be on the list.
So you've got to put that on your bucket list. EastEnders is the next one, but Coronation Street, you know, Emmerdale, Brookside. You've been in all the greatest TV shows.
Well, Brookside was great. I mean, I think it was ahead of its time. You know, it dealt with lots of sort of gritty issues at that point. It was great to get involved with that. So, yeah, I played a character called Carl Banks. I was a regular character in that. At the time, a bit of a Jack the Lad type. I think some significant storylines with it. I was Jimmy Corkill's drug runner at one point. And I also helped the guy who was playing my dad, Eddie Banks, to discover the body under the patio, that big storyline at the time. So
wow.
There was some really big storylines. And I was in that for a couple of years, and a great learning curve in terms of the technique.
Yeah, it must have been.
TV, because everything was shot on.
I mean, and some great actors in Brookside as well, you know, and some superb actors.
Training ground and some great people.
So then from Brookside, did you go into Coronation Street, or was it Emmerdale?
Emmerdale. In fact, I've done two parts in Emmerdale. The first one, there must be a theme here because I ended up playing a drug dealer. I was Rona the vet at the time developed a prescription drug addiction, and I became a house buyer. So yeah, I was a bit of a dodgy geezer in that one.
And then did you come back and then play a policeman?
Yeah, I was a policeman. So in effect, I could have arrested myself.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was.
But you've had a wonderful acting career.
It's been good. I mean, I've been around for quite some time, so I've done quite a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of telly, a lot of theatre, but as ever, there's never one sort of straight line through it. There's always peaks and troughs, and I think particularly now because the industry, like many industries, has been hit hard.
Very hard.
Now with the music industry, I think, and particularly venues, they can't make themselves viable to put on these shows anymore. I mean,
no, we're in an awful state. The whole of the music entertainment industry is in a really bad way. Really, but we're still here, and people are still, being creative, even if it's from home.
Yeah, I think that's a real positive thing, because when you've got that creativity running through your veins, you're always going to find a way.
Absolutely.
I think lockdown. One of the positives for me is that I've been able to revisit some of my sort of old songs and stuff like that, because I've had these songs kicking around for years, a lot of them. I've also started writing some new stuff. And I've looked at it and I thought, well, it's ridiculous that these are just still demos or just little acoustic versions, or in some cases remaining on a page when I can hear all these melodies going around. I thought, well, I started off doing this. It's almost like it's come full circle. In effect.
Yeah, you've gone back, haven't you?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your music in a minute. I just want to speak to you about the movie.
Gosh, yeah.
Yeah, Accident Man. How did that come about?
That was great. There was what happened was that every agent will get a casting breakdown for characters that they're being auditioned or whatever for these films, and on this particular occasion, there was a character breakdown, and it said, for a film, a greasy, horrible, spiteful, ratty little man who's got a big chip on his shoulder. I thought, oh. And I got a call for this, and I thought I'd take a punt, and I decided to actually go in as that character. Now, this doesn't always work. I think sometimes you need to go into these auditions like yourself, but because it was quite specific, I thought I'm just going to roll the dice with this one. So yeah. I attended the audition, and I just went as this horrible little character. And I remember the director, Jesse Johnson, who's done a huge amount of films in Hollywood, particularly action films and stuff. he just said, "Oh my God, I'm going to have nightmares tonight." And I thought, oh, I think that went okay. And it was also co-produced by Scott Aitken, who is a tremendous martial artist and action hero.
He is.
He's been in loads and loads of films, and of course, it was his sort of pet project. And I've since found out he was instrumental in sort of fighting my corner, because what had happened is that I called my agent and said, "Look, I think this meeting went well. Can you find out what's going on?" And they said, "Well, you're at the top of the list and you're penciled." They use this phrase a lot, "you're penciled." I thought, okay, well, that sounds promising. Can you find, anything else? And they said,
Right.
Well, Vision has to be made in America. And basically what had happened is it was produced by Sony, and the American producers at the time were essentially looking for a name, because there was a lot of other names in it. They had Ray Park, who was Darth Maul in Star Wars. They had Ray Stevens, who's been in loads of stuff. Michael J. White, who's another phenomenal martial artist. And because they had this raft of, sort of known stars, this Sony was going, well, no, we want a known person for this. And, I've done quite a lot of stuff, but I wasn't necessarily in that league in terms of being known. But Scott Aitken, who produced it, said, no, I want him. And he pushed for me. So in that sense, I've got him to be thankful for, and I got the gig.
Absolutely. That's great.
And, it was great. And it's a cracking film. It's lots of high energy martial art action. And
so can you let everybody know who's watching the video where they can see this film?
Well, it's across all the sort of digital platforms, so you can get it on Amazon, all sort of Blu-ray. Most of the things, I'm not entirely sure if it's hit Netflix yet. It may well do, but most of the other sort of online sites you can see it. I think.
Right. So, all right, that's brilliant. So let's talk about music now. Obviously, your love is music. I've heard your stuff, and you can just tell that music from the heart is what it is.
Yeah, it's always gone hand in hand. I think performance, has always been there, whether it's been acting, singing, and particularly writing. I've always heard melodies. Early on, it was a bit of a frustration because I never really had the facility to translate that. So I've sort of taught myself a few instruments along the way in order to try and at least get basic sort of, foundations down for it. But as I say, I've always been in bands. I was in a band called the Bars back in the 80s, and we had early interest by CBS Records at that time. That's another story.
Wow.
I was in a band called the Gents. It was a bit of a comedy, almost Bonzo Dog Doodah band type stuff. So some of that stuff's out there. So I've always sort of written and I've always performed. And as I say, yes, the acting sort of took off, but I always kept the sort of music going as well. And I've always written, but as I say, I've just sort of revisited it. And I think, lockdown sort of aided that to some degree. I've gone back and looked and thought, well, some of this stuff I still quite like. And one of the songs that we've done recently, Song for Joe.
I was going to ask you about that. It's a beautiful song. And I mean, the lyrics are really empowering. I mean, who is Joe? Tell us about Joe, Song for Joe.
Well, going back to that story about Bournemouth and the car, it's my granddad, Joe. And from Liverpool, and he was a member of the family who was always incredibly encouraging and supportive to me. I think because I was going into sort of the performance industry, I think sometimes it was seen as, oh, well, you got to be careful, you got to have a backup or whatever. So it wasn't always necessarily encouraged. Whereas Joe never doubted. He always said, "Yeah, go for it, follow it, do it," and he always had that. And he was incredibly wise, astute man. He was self-taught with everything. He was a very keen gardener. He could name every single flower and plant in Latin and stuff. He had a most beautiful garden. He was phenomenal. And yeah, he just supported me. And so I think after he passed, which was sort of early 90s, I was going through some stuff at the time where I was trying to get, some songs together and some other things. And I was thinking, oh, what would Joe say? You know, I need to hear what he's saying, you know. And I really felt that I needed his advice at that point.
Yeah.
So that song originally I wrote back then. And I've done a couple of recordings of it. I mean, there exists like an acoustic version. But when I was looking at it again, it's almost like I was hearing his voice again. And there's a line in the song, actually, which is, I need to hear your voice again. And I did. I mean, I actually genuinely could hear him when I was looking at the song. And he was going, just do it. And I thought it needs a bigger sound, you know. I can hear how I want it to be. And this is where, you know, yourself and David have come into it.
So this is how really this new project began.
It is. It's because I approached David with this song, and you know, with a very basic. I mean, I recorded something through a tiny little microphone on a computer with a very rough guitar track. So, well, here it is. And what he's actually done with it, I mean, you were there, you saw I was shaking. I got goosebumps all over, and it was like, oh my, that is just extraordinary.
So are there going to be more songs?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm on a mission. Joe's telling me what to do.
Tell me, these batch of songs that you're doing, they're probably going to be able to hear them at some point.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think...
Are you going to release them?
I fully intend to. I think what's quite nice at the moment is this building process. So it's just like, you know, I think that the idea is to actually get an EP together and release that hopefully at some point next year. We've already worked on two. One being your own.
Well, you will keep me informed, won't you, so that I can let all our watchers know, you know, when it's coming out.
Of course. Well, I'm very fortunate to have had you singing on it as well, which is your extraordinary, beautiful vocals. I mean,
oh, thank you.
This is what makes it. I mean, David's arrangement and your singing on it, I mean, it's just taken it to some extraordinary, beautiful.
They're rather good, aren't they? The songs are really, really good. I mean, I have to confess to everybody that, you know, prior to me speaking with Stephen today, I have known Stephen for a while, and yes, I did do some backing vocals for him on these couple of tracks that have already been recorded, and they're really good tracks, and I'm, you know, really looking forward to the whole package being finished and getting out there.
I think actually in some respects, those two songs that we've done, I mean, you've written that one, Take Me Back to Yesterday, which is brilliant. And the one I've done, Song for Joe, similar in theme in the sense that they've got that sort of feel.
Yeah, that's really weird actually, because when you think about it, they're all about memories, nostalgia, the past.
Absolutely. Well, the way in which it's been arranged, it's bang up to date. So we're talking about, you know, the past, but it's being presented in very much a now format, which is great. The other two for the EP that I'm sort of kicking around are actually a lot more upbeat. And there's one, it's almost got like a Motown stroke wham type rhythm.
Yeah.
And it's interesting when I mentioned this to David, he said, what do you mean, like on Freedom? I said, yeah. He said, oh, do you mean like what my mate did? I said, what? He said, yeah, Trevor Morell did the drums on all
he
the
did,
stuff.
yeah.
And he passed me the phone and I'm speaking to him. Oh my God. It's like my 16, 17-year-old, 18-year-old self. It was in dreamland talking to Trevor Morell, thinking, well, yeah, that's exactly the sort of sound I'm talking about.
So there you go. So you're going to get that sound, obviously. So Stephen, for the purpose of this little shtick we're doing here, can you let people know where they can, you know, see more about the CDS project? Where can they find you? Yeah,
sure. Well, the CDS project has got a Facebook page. So, just put that into Facebook. And I know that obviously with Silver Storm Media, you're promoting and representing. You've got a lot of people on board there. And, you know, I think there are going to be links to my stuff as well with that.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. And obviously, when we do the actual release, then, you know, hopefully that's going to be out there on all sorts of different, you know, digital platforms.
There's going to be loads of promotion. Obviously, everybody will know about Stephen, Donald, Edwards, Donald, whatever. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for spending these 10, 15 minutes, however long it's been with me, and chatting about your acting career and your music career. And will you come back again when you've got some more things to talk about, when more songs are finished?
Oh, absolutely. I'm buzzing on it now. You know, the muse is very much, I'm writing more stuff at the moment as well. And there's
brilliant.
A lot more to come. And I'm incredibly thankful to you and David for taking this to another level. And
thank you so much. It's our pleasure. You're a really talented guy, and we just love talent.
Oh.
Thank you, Stephen. Bye for now.
No.
Bye. 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 Bye.